Hola chicos, I'm Paul.
And I'm Bea.
And this is Everything is Bofo.
And in this video, we are joined today by Kieran, once again, from InnoInsure, a private health insurance company here in Spain. Hi Kieran, thanks for being here.
Hi Bea, hi Paul. Thanks so much for having me on today. It's a pleasure to speak to you both as always. And I hope this is an interesting video about Spanish healthcare and its differences between the US healthcare. And I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully it can provide some very useful and interesting information.
Yeah, we got super excited because we've been getting a lot of questions about the healthcare system, and we actually have some notes for you. So I hope you're ready.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready as ever and want to provide as much information as possible for anybody, no matter where they're coming from, moving to Spain. Provide detailed information about the Spanish healthcare system, the benefits of having a Spanish private health insurance policy, and really hope to provide some useful information.
All right, let's get started. So, a lot of our viewers are interested in moving to Spain on a non-lucrative visa, kind of like what we did, or maybe a student visa. And if you look through the requirements to get this visa approved, you will need private health insurance. And there are some quite strict requirements, like it has to have no copay, no deductible, no waiting, full coverage, and it should be able to repatriate you back to your home country. So let's talk about that one by one, Kieran, because I feel like, we gloss over it every time we've been talking about insurance and requirements. But let's talk about what that really means when someone purchases this insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So you've listed off some of the main requirements for a Spanish private health insurance policy for your visa, and these are really, really important factors. So number one, as you mentioned, is should have full coverage. What does that mean? Full coverage, it means full coverage in terms of doctor visits, a general practitioner, primary care physician, specialists such as a psychiatrist, a dermatologist, a traumatologist. So it should cover you for a normal doctor visit, also a specialist doctor visit. It should cover you in hospitalizations, surgeries, inpatient and outpatient, and emergencies as well. So if you have a broken leg and you need to visit the emergency room, that should be covered, as well as your surgeries, hospitalization. So it should have full coverage with no exclusions such as surgery or hospitalization. These should all be covered and included in the policy. So that's one of the main requirements. Then basing off that as well, typically one of the main requirements is that it has unlimited financial coverage, so that you're covered in these emergencies or for any treatments needed, that you have that coverage. It's a really important factor in one, choosing a policy, and of course ensuring it meets the visa requirements. He also mentioned co-payments. So visa compliant Spanish private health insurance policy should have no co-payments. What this means is you don't need to pay anything for a covered service. So if you go to a doctor within the medical network, you show your insurance card, maybe some ID, and you're covered and you don't pay anything else. So that's a really important point. So it means when you go to doctors, you don't have to pay anything else. Really, really important. And then it's quite similar to the waiting periods. So a waiting period is a wait time you need to wait for a covered service. So for example, a policy with waiting periods, it might have a waiting period of 6 months for hospitalizations. So 6 months into your policy, you have to wait until you can be covered in a hospitalization. Of course, the visa requirement is no waiting periods. So that's, of course, an additional benefit of these visa compliant policies is you're covered from day one. So that gives you your peace of mind in terms of specialist visits, doctor visits, and also hospitalization surgeries. You're covered from day one. You also mentioned deductibles. So like the no co-payments, it's very similar. You don't need to pay anything else for your policy. You pay your annual fee, and then once you need any medical services, you go to centers or doctors within that medical network and you're covered. No deductibles, no co-payments. So that's really important. Gives you the peace of mind knowing that you have a full coverage policy. You don't need to pay out of pocket for any appointments or treatments that you may need, which of course is really important and important to know if you're moving from the US or anywhere in the world to Spain. And lastly, you mentioned repatriation. Repatriation of remains is in the event of death, you will be repatriated back to your home country, and that's covered and included. And typically, this is one of the requirements of the Spanish consulate. So these are the main points regarding the visa requirements, and I hope that explained a little bit more about the specifics. And of course, you'll need to follow these requirements when you're purchasing your policy to meet the visa requirements, but also to ensure you have that peace of mind when you're living in Spain on your Spanish visa.
Okay, I have a question. So this happened to a friend of mine. She had private insurance, she went to a doctor, and then she was not happy with the service that he gave. So she's like, what do? I go, you go to a different doctor. And, so that doesn't affect anything, right? If she switches from one doctor because she's unhappy, she goes to a different one, that's not gonna, like, she doesn't have to pay extra because, look, she went to, another doctor with the same specialization.
Yes, so that's actually one of the benefits of Spanish private health insurance, that you don't need to register with one doctor and that you're assigned doctor. Whether it's a GP, a general practitioner, or a primary care physician, or it's a specialist, you can visit any specialist or any doctor within the medical network. So you're not restricted to one doctor. So if you don't like that doctor or you don't have a great relationship, you can just go to any other doctor within the medical network and be seen, whether it's a different specialty or it's the same specialty. You have that the benefit of being able to choose more and more specialists. So that's a really important factor with the private health insurance, where it differs from the actual public healthcare system. You can choose which specialist you want to see.
We're still trying to get used to this system because it just still blows our mind that how easy it is compared to the former systems that we used to go through, right? Well, I want to ask you then, what's the average cost of getting private insurance, like especially for the people who are required with the visa?
Right, for that type of insurance specifically.
Hey everyone, before we dive into today's comparison of Spanish private health insurance versus other countries, we've got something new to share that we think will really help if you're planning a move to Spain.
If you've been following along our journey, you know that even though we went to Spain sight unseen, we didn't just move to Spain without a clear plan. We did the research, mapped the process, and now we've turned everything we learned into practical tools to help you do it too. We just launched a free course and 2 paid mini courses on our website, the Spain Starter Kit. This is where to begin. It walks you through the basics, what to research, what to expect, and how to turn your Spain move into reality. The Moving to Spain Timeline and Checklist. This is your complete step-by-step roadmap. We tackled the visa research, the hidden costs of moving to Spain, timing your application process, and how do you pack your life into a few suitcases. If we did it, it's in there.
The Spain City Guide. We listed down 47 cities, not just the big names, real places that people are actually moving to. You'll get honest, bite-sized info on cost of living, healthcare access, climate, walkability, schools, airport proximity, and where to get free tapas. We wanted these mini courses to be short, practical, and grounded in our experience, to share as much information as we can without overwhelming you. And we're coming up with more. It took us 1.5 years of planning before we moved to Spain, and another 2.5 years of living in Spain to finally receive Spanish citizenship. That means 4 full years of hands-on immigration experience of navigating Spanish bureaucracy from scratch. From securing our initial visa through the LA consulate to renewing our residency and eventually applying for Spanish citizenship. No shortcuts.
So if you're serious or even just curious about moving to Spain, check out the courses on our website. And don't forget to follow us here for more practical tips, honest advice, and full guides every week. Spain isn't just a fantasy. With the right plan, it can be your real life. So let's help get you there smarter.
Now let's get back to the video.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, of course, the prices may vary depending on age and if there's any pre-existing conditions. So this is just an estimate. But typically, Spanish health insurance policies, the annual cost, not the monthly cost, the annual cost is around €500 and may rise to around €3,000, depending on each person, depending on the individual. If they have pre-existing conditions or if they're older, it may change. But an estimate, so you have an idea of the cost of Spanish private health insurance policies, are from €500 for typically for younger clients, and may rise up to around €3,000, and these are the annual costs.
Wow, that's an insane price, you know. That's a very, very good price. And I actually know someone who's paying $980 for a couple and a baby for health insurance, and
980
$3,000
for the month.
for the month.
Right, in the
So
US.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So 3,000 for the year for an older person is a bargain compared to this. Well, now that you gave us an average of this, what else do we get from that? What other perks do we get from that?
Yeah, so there actually are some perks included in your health insurance policy. So of course it is a health insurance policy, but one additional benefit that's included is dental. So you do have some dental coverage typically included in your Spanish health insurance policy. So what this covers is dental checkups and appointments. They're covered and included. If you need to have any simple extractions, that's also covered and included, and an annual dental clean. So you get a once a year dental clean included in your health insurance policy. This is quite typical with Spanish health insurance policies, but you're not paying separate. Well, you can pay for a dental insurance policy, but one of the benefits is to have that dental coverage covered and included in your policy. Another benefit which a lot of people ask about is the travel assistance that's included in your health insurance policy. So typically in Spanish health insurance policies, you'll have some emergency travel assistance that covers you abroad. So you have worldwide emergency travel assistance, which covers you in emergencies abroad, except for your home country. So if you're from the US or you're from the UK and you go back to your home country for some time, you're not covered. But anywhere else in the world, except for countries at war, you are covered in emergency travel assistance. So you'll, in the unfortunate case of an emergency, you'll go to an emergency room or a hospital and you'll pay, and then you'll be reimbursed by the health insurance company. So it's nice that you have some travel assistance when you're traveling, taking holidays away from the Spanish heat. And if you want to have a little bit of a break, it's nice to know that you have some emergency travel coverage.
Can you share with us how much how much is that maximum for that travel coverage?
Yeah, so typically it does depend on the health insurance company, but with our policies, it can start from 12,000 euro for the cover. The coverage limit is €12,000, and for one of our other policies, it is €24,000, and you are covered from, depending on the policy, up to 90 days per trip and up to 120 days per trip. So it's quite substantial travel assistance in the event of an emergency. So from 12,000 up to 24,000, and from 90 days up to 120 days. So that's the travel emergency travel assistance.
Now that we've talked about the private insurance and what the benefits are, now whenever people approach you and inquire about your services, what are their their frequently asked questions?
Yeah, so one of the most important questions that we get asked is about vision. And is vision insurance, is this included in your health insurance policy? And typically this is asked by clients maybe coming from the US. So in Spain, vision is separate to health insurance. Vision isn't included. So of course, if you have an issue with your eye, of course, you can visit an eye doctor and they'll be able to see you and help you. Although if you need glasses or contact lenses, or you need to have an eye test, that's not covered or included, and you'll just go to an optician and they'll assist you with this, and then you'll just pay for this. But with Spanish health insurance, vision isn't included. So that's, of course, a question that gets asked a lot, and it's important to note that vision isn't included in Spanish healthcare policies. It's seen as something separate. And one other question that's really commonly asked and really important to point out, so medications in Spain with private health insurance are not covered. Typically, in most cases, medications aren't covered and you have to pay out of pocket. So if you have a sore throat and you go to a doctor and they treat you and then they give you a prescription, you'll then go to the pharmacy and then you'll have to pay out of pocket for this medication. Although medications in Spain, in comparison to other countries, including EU countries, Spanish medications are typically quite cheaper. So this is a benefit. So you will have to pay for medications. Medications aren't covered and included, but they are cheaper in comparison to other countries. There may be policies that cover some medications. One of our policies has 50% reimbursements on medications up to €100 per year. So there are maybe some coverage for medications, but typically they're not covered and you have to pay for the medications out of pocket. And one final commonly asked question that's really important is, how does Spanish insurance work when visiting a doctor? So as I've mentioned before briefly, you will go to a doctor within the medical network, show them your insurance card and your ID, and you'll be treated. You don't have to pay and then be reimbursed, so there's less paperwork involved. It's easier for you. So you just visit the centre, show them your insurance card and your ID, you'll be looked after, and then the billing is done directly between the health insurance company and the medical centre or the hospital. So it's just less paperwork, a little bit simpler than maybe other healthcare systems. So that's important to point out. If you're in pain and you need to visit a doctor, you don't need to be filling out paperwork and medical forms. You just go, show your insurance card and your ID. Once you're in a centre within the medical network, you're covered and you don't pay.
So we've been getting this question a lot, and because you're supposed to pay a year in advance for your insurance, right? So what happens when you get denied for your visa?
In the unfortunate case, if your visa is rejected, seen as you have to pay typically upfront for 1 year. If your visa is rejected for any reason, just send us the letter of rejection and you'll receive a full refund if your policy hasn't started yet. If your policy has started yet, you'll be refunded all unused months. So really important to note that down.
Well, thanks once again, Kieran, for joining us and talking a little bit more in depth about those requirements and some of the differences from other countries versus the Spanish private insurance. How can they find you?
Yes, so you can reach myself or my team here at InnoInsure in the link in the description. Myself or one of my colleagues at InnoInsure will be happy to help you with any questions, queries related to Spanish private health insurance, regarding quotes. You can actually get instant quotes through our website in the link, and you can reach out to us with any questions at all and we'd be happy to help. InnoInsure is an official alliance of international offices of the leading health insurance companies in Spain, and our policies meet all visa and residency requirements, and our documents can be issued within 3 working days for your visa. So let us know if you have any questions at all. We'd be happy to help. We have multilingual customer support, including English, so we'd be happy to help you with anything regarding Spanish private health insurance. And I'd like to thank you both, Paul and Bea, for having me on. I hope this was useful and insightful, and I hope to see you again soon in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kieran.
Thanks, Kieran.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell. Shout out to our subscribers for always being awesome. Thanks to the people who support our channel by subscribing, commenting, giving us super thanks, and tipping us with our Buy Us a Coffee link. If you want to pick our brains and book a 60-minute consultation, we have a link for that, and we can give our honest opinions about topics that we haven't covered in our videos.
Thanks to the people in our Facebook group for being awesome members. for generously helping each other.